They say every choice has consequences, but I never imagined how far one moment could spiral out of control. It started innocently, a glance, a conversation, but soon I was treading dangerous ground now, as I stand on the edge of everything I've ever known. I can't help but wonder, was it worth it? The evening sun cast a golden glow over the quiet neighborhood. As I stood in the kitchen stirring a pot-au beef stew that filled the house with its comforting aroma, the soft hum of James's car, pulling into the driveway, interrupted my thoughts, and I felt a sudden flutter in my chest. I shook my head, scolding myself. He was my son-in-law Megan's husband, and yet there was something about him, something I couldn't quite explain, that made my heart race. I tried to distract myself, focusing on the rhythm of my cooking. But when James walked into the kitchen, the air seemed to shift. He had a presence about him, a quiet confidence that made him stand out, even in the most mundane settings. "Good evening, Evelyn," he greeted warmly but casually. He said, his briefcase on the counter, his ties lightly loosened from a long day of work. "James," I replied, forcing a smile that I hoped masked the nervousness bubbling inside me. "I thought I'd make something special tonight, beef stew, your favorite, isn't it?" He hesitated, his brow furrowing slightly. "It's Megan's favorite," he corrected, though his tone wasn't sharp. It was careful, measured, as though he was trying not to imply anything. I waved my hand dismissively, turning back to the stove. "Same thing, you both love it," I said lightly, though I could feel the weight of his gaze on my back. There was an unspoken tension between us, one I couldn't ignore no matter how much he wanted to. It wasn't just in the way he spoke to him, it was in the way his eyes lingered when he thought I wasn't looking, or the subtle shift in his posture. When I entered the room, it was intoxicating, and I hated myself for noticing. "Where's Megan?" he asked, breaking the silence. "Working late," I replied, keeping my tone casual as I ladled the stew into bowls. "It's just the two of us tonight." The words hung in the air longer than they should have, and I felt a flicker of guilt. I didn't mean for it to sound suggestive, but there it was. James cleared his throat, stepping back, as though to create some distance between us. We sat at the dining table, the silence between us broken only by the clinking of spoons against bowls. I tried to focus on anything but him, the way the light from the chandelier made his hair shimmer, or the way his shirt clung to his shoulders. "After a long day. How's work?" I asked, desperate to fill the silence. "Busy here," plied simply, his tone distant. He didn't meet my eyes, and I wondered if he could sense what was going on in my head. If he could. He didn't show it. Instead, he excused himself after dinner, retreating to the living room with a book, while I stayed behind to clean up as I washed the dishes. I couldn't help but steal a glance at him through the open doorway. He was sitting on the couch, one leg crossed over the other, his brow furrowed in concentration as he read. There was something magnetic about him, something I couldn't ignore. No matter how much I tried, I knew it was wrong to feel this way. But the pull was undeniable. Able that night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the image of him from my mind, the way he carried himself, the way he looked at me. Was it all in my head? Or did he feel it too? I didn't know, but I couldn't deny it any longer. Something had changed between us, and I wasn't sure I had the strength to resist where it might lead. He finally looked at me, his face a mixture of guilt and intense desire. "We need to talk," he said, his voice low but firm. I nodded, my throat tightening as I followed him outside into the backyard. The cool night air was a stark contrast to the heat rising within me. James paced back and forth, running a hand through his hair as if searching for the right words. "This has to stop, Evelyn," he finally said, turning to face me. "What happened last night? It can't happen again." I crossed my arms over my chest as if shielding myself from the raw honesty of his words. "I know," I said quietly, though the admission felt like a lie. It was a mistake. He shook his head, his eyes searching mine. "Don't call it a mistake, you know. This wasn't just that, it meant something." The intensity in his voice gripped my heart. "James, I started, my voice trembling. "We can't do this, Megan. Megan doesn't even see me." He interrupted his frustration. Evident she's so busy with work, with everything, that she doesn't even notice when I'm struggling. "But you see me, Evelyn. You always have." His words struck something deep within me. Shaking emotions. I wasn't prepared to confront. I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that he was projecting feelings onto me that weren't real, but I couldn't, because the truth was, I did see him. I always had. I took a hesitant step closer, my resolve crumbling under the weight of his gaze. "This isn't fair," I whispered. "Not to Megan, not to you, not to my life. Isn't fair," he murmured, his voice softer now. "But what I feel for you, it's real." Before I could respond, the sound of the patio door opening shattered the moment. We both turned sharply to see Megan stepping outside, her phone in hand, curiosity flickering across her face. "What's going on out here?" she asked, glancing between us. I forced a smile, my heartbeat racing. "Just getting some fresh air," I said, keeping my voice steady, despite the storm inside me. James nodded, his expression unreadable. "Yeah, just talking about the garden." Megan's gaze lingered on us for a moment, before she shrugged and went back inside, leaving us alone again. The tension was unbearable, and I knew we were playing a dangerous game, one that could unravel at any moment. "We can't keep doing this," I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. James nodded, but the look in his eyes told me he wasn't ready to let go. And deep down I knew I wasn't either. The beginning of difficult days. The days that followed felt like walking. Tight RPP over a pit, every glance, every word between James and me felt heavy, as if we were balancing on the edge of a secret we could barely contain. Megan, oblivious, carried on as if everything was fine. She laughed with James, teased him, kissed him goodbye in the mornings every time she showed him affection. It was like a knife twisting in my chest. The confusion, if I've learned anything from this, it's the boundaries exist for a reason. Temptation comes in many forms, but it's our choices that define us. Silence and neglect create cracks in relationships, and those set cracks make space for things that should never exist. Life is complicated, yes, but some risks aren't worth taking, no matter how tempting they may seem. Trust and loyalty aren't just values. They are the foundation of every relationship we want to protect. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more gripping tales. And if you have a story of your own, share it in the comments below. Until next time, goodbye.